What's up? And welcome back to Help I'm Single. I have my friend Emily. I was about to say your last name, but I feel like we don't really technically need that. But if you want to introduce your last name, you can.
Oh, okay. My name is Emily Ruizl. That's my last name.
Hi, welcome.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.
Wow.
You too.
I'm just kidding. So Emily and I met at the last church I attended. I've mentioned how we had a young adult small groups and everything there. And I feel like I say that every single video. The last church where I had a young adult small group. Anyway, yes, that same church, Emily, we met. we met through that group. So what is it? It'll be 2 years that we've known you now, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a long time.
In the fall, it'll be 2 years. Time flies by. Like relationships and friendships lately have just felt like that. So anyway, today we wanted to get started on the topic of faith and identity. Well, I guess today specifically we were talking about identity. So share a little bit more of our stories and answer some questions. And again, like I've said, if y'all have any questions y'all would like answered, send them in or put them in the comments and we will address them in the next videos. So,
okay.
Without further ado, so our first question of the day, which is funny to say day because it's nighttime. Anyway,
okay.
Our first question is, beyond the literal definition, what is identity for a believer?
I guess just looking at your question is not, we shouldn't be asking what is identity. It's like, who is your identity?
Mm.
Like Christ is our identity because it's based on Him. It's not based on us. It's not based on what we do. Like, whenever people introduce themselves, they always say, "Oh, this is what I do," or but they never talk about being. Like, being and doing are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're commanded to do, but we're also commanded to be.
That's a whole be. That is a whole topic. But, yeah.
Yeah. So it's. Sorry, that one seems so straightforward now. Like, if you wanted to add more to it, it's kind of like you have to know who you are. Like, who is your identity based off of in order to continue the doing. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to know who you are in being.
Right.
In order to proceed and move on in life with doing, if that makes sense.
That is so good because it leads into... I was going to go to this question, but let's go to the next one second, which is how does our identity impact our lives based on this understanding of what identity is for a believer.
Okay, so imagine yourself before Christ. Mm-hmm. And like, I know I was constantly trying to figure out who I was. So I did things based off who I thought I was.
Right.
Like, whether it be social media or your friends or your family or whatever, they will constantly speak into you and say, this is who you are. And that's how your actions reflect who you are. And that's how you start to believe this is my identity. Yeah. If that makes sense. Because it's easy for you to say or tell someone, you need to just be. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, what does that mean? Right. And like being, I don't know, I guess in how it seems like it makes sense in my brain mm-hmm. that works for me is who's speaking into your life. Mm-hmm. Because like if Christ is speaking into your life and He's speaking like over you, like, oh, you are lovely, you are beautiful, you are my daughter, you are chosen, you are adopted, like, you're going to believe that about yourself, mm-hmm. as well as all the other things of what we're growing towards, of you are righteous, you are pure, you are lovely. I think I said it twice. But you know, all those things, like, those are all characteristics of God. Mm-hmm. And whenever, like, we allow God to speak that way into our lives, we start to believe that that is who we are. So we're just being with Christ through that belief system, I guess. And then how we believe is how we act. Someone that's really important in my life and had a ton of influence on my life was constantly told, like, basically they were ugly. Mm-hmm. They were told a lot of hurtful things. And whenever you get a lot, not everybody believes this, but whenever you're told so many things after the other, when the enemy is constantly grilling you with lies, and your heart's not guarded, your mind's not guarded, you start to believe those about yourself. And that's how you react or act towards things, whether it's an action or a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're acting based on what you actually believe about yourself.
Definitely agree. I think for me, you had touched on, I guess, like that transition from what you used to believe about yourself and then going into believing that you're beautiful and righteous, things like that. Because that's something that's really new for me. Because I think it was really only over the last 3-4 years, because that's how long it's been since I've really dedicated and said yes to God.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's the same, like, believing that I'm beautiful or believing that I'm lovely. That's one of those things. Or believing that I was special to God. Those are things that when people spoke them over me, like, it broke me every time and I would just be in tears. And so now for me, looking in the mirror and not hating myself, and not to say that it's not a struggle anymore, because we all struggle with physical, things that we would like to improve and stuff. So definitely not perfect, but it definitely doesn't have as much of a weight on my worth in the way that I behave, I guess. And it goes beyond looks too. You know? It goes beyond believing that I'm beautiful, but like who I am, like believing that my personality, when I'm just enjoying my time with God, that He might actually laugh at some of my jokes. Like things like that. Really believing it really changes the way that you interact with people.
It's like I created you.
Right.
Yes, I know you're funny.
Right. So the next question is, why is it so important for our relationships, or how does our understanding of our identity affect our relationships? Not just what we do, but the people. And not just, romantic relationships either. You can talk about friendships, family relationships.
So friendships was the first thing that came into my mind, because I just think, like since our group is a Jesus-loving group, I don't know how to say it. Like, whenever you're not letting God speak into your life, it affects the group so much, because you start acting and reacting like something else, like something that's not of Christ, and it weighs your friends down, and you don't even realize it. Because I've had a friend who's exactly like that. Like, it would be like a group of us, and we'd all be just, Jesus is my favorite thing to talk about. But this person just started like, oh, I'm not good enough for this group, or God doesn't look at me like that, or just just things that, as a group of believers, you don't automatically think that something's wrong.
Right.
It's like the tiny things that creep in. And the tiny things creep into every relationship. And anyway, different story. But it's those kinds of things, and it's just like, before you know it, that person, like, because you let those lies, because you tolerated those lies. That's the word I was looking for. Because you tolerated those lies enough, they start speaking more and more and more, and that's how the enemy bogs us down in our friendships.
Gets a foothold.
Yeah, and that's for romantic relationships. That's for family relationships. Like, it's the little things. It's the little words that you say. It's the little things that you believe about yourself. That you let the enemy get into, because you didn't guard your heart and didn't guard your mind. If Christ is in your heart, then what comes out of your mouth are words like Christ. Versus if you allow Satan to, and it only takes a drop, like literally, like, one of those droppers. Like, Satan's just got a drop, and he's just like, 1 drop, 2 drops.
Like a drop of dye on those towels, and you just see it go.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't have to. Satan doesn't have to give you something big to destroy your life. He gives you a bunch of tiny things that spread out just like dye in water, or however you want to see it.
And it's so true, because what enemy would want to come and like say, "Hey, I'm here to attack"? Like, it's gonna be something.
It'd be like, no, you're not.
You're like, "Pause, come at me again." No,
you're not very good at this.
Like, obviously, would be something that's undercover. That's so that makes sense that it would be little things, and that's so true, because it usually starts with a thought. And if we don't shut it down right then and there, it can really begin to manifest and affect a lot of different things. Responding to what you said about relationships, like looking at it from the outside, or like kind of seeing how your friendships from the outside affect the group. I think also for me, coming through understanding my identity in Christ, like I had talked about sexual immorality, And for me, I hadn't realized that lust was such a big issue that it impacted the way that I allowed people to interact with me, or allowed myself to interact with other people, or how close I let them. Because when I started to become more aware, I understood that lust was evil. I understood that it wasn't pure. So I was constantly afraid, because we all know how lust works, you know, it perverts your mind, and I talked about in the last video, like, even just a simple touch could send you to crazy places. So and I have friends that will remember this, like, there was a time, and I'm still trying to come through it, you know, like, being okay with sitting close to people and giving people hugs and recognizing, like, it's okay now, like, I've been healed. But for the longest, I didn't want people to touch me. I didn't want to sit close to people, because I was so scared that I would just, like, go off into crazy thoughts or catch feelings for, like, no matter. And it, you know, can I be really real right now, you know, because sexual immorality, like I said, I don't play with sexual immorality, because there's things that sometimes we say, oh, that's not that bad, or it's not that serious because you only did small things. But we talked, like you just said, it only takes a drop for the enemy to completely overcome, you know. Like, if we let one thing in, then we're starting to let other things have access to our hearts and to our spirits. So for me, I just want to be open. I guess I'm just saying that because I want to be open. So for me, when it comes to sexual immorality, you know, it's such a perverted thing. It doesn't know any boundaries. So me, when I say I didn't let people get close to me, it wasn't just guys, it was girls too. Because I did wrestle in high school with same-sex attraction at times, and wondering if I was, like, I would be scared, you know, like, am I attracted to women? Like, and if I am, what does that mean for me in my faith? Like, what am I supposed to do with that? And, you know, that's, you know, it's definitely a real concern. Especially, like I said, I had things in childhood spoken over me, like, oh, you're a better guy, you know, so I'm better off being I'm better off being, like, I guess, I don't know what I thought, like, I'm better off, you know, being with another woman because a man won't love me because I'm too much like them. So, you know, I mean, being raw, like, being real, because I want people to have an opportunity, especially, like we talked about, like, things being spoken over in youth. If you're in high school, if you're in middle school, if you are, like, no matter what age you are, but I especially have a passion for people that are young, because I walked through it by myself, because I was too scared to talk to my parents. And I have loving parents, you know, they weren't, when I came clean about everything, they weren't judgmental, they weren't angry with me. But if you are wrestling, like I said, my email is there. Talk to us. We wanna be there, because we understand. Because don't be afraid to be real. You know, don't play with evil. Don't play with it, especially if there's things that are starting to try to come at you. So for me, identity, definitely, what I believe in myself didn't just impact the way that I, like you said, just the things that I did, but even just the way that I wanted proximity, very physically. Like, I don't want people that close to me. And then I was also selfish. I mean, I didn't know who I was, so of course I was very self-focused. I always crack jokes, because when I first thought about marriage in high school, I was just like, I just can't wait to have someone bring me French fries while I'm at work and surprise me and just, like, hold me close.
I thought I was the only one that wanted that.
Bringing it back in. Is there anything else that you had on?
I actually did want to add, and this is not just, because we all do it. We all, like, Satan's attacking all of us. It's not just one person. So he's each giving us a drop. And I would say that it's important for, whether it be your friends or your spouse, or, like, whatever kind of relationship it is, to constantly, like, yes, it's not my job to fix it. It's God's job to fix it, but God gave us power. Like, he gave us the word. I mean, and that's all him. So it's just like, if I have nothing else but scripture, then I'm gonna fight you with some scripture. Then I'd be like, no, that's not true, because if you go back and look here, like, this is what God says about you, and you just stop saying that.
Speaking life over them. That's all we got for today, talking on faith and identity. Again, like we said, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to share, throw it in the comments. If you want to talk to anybody about anything that we covered in this video, you can shoot me an email. That's also in the description. And we will see y'all sometime in April, because I can't remember the date right now. Thank you again. I think I already said that. But peace out.
Comes out of your mouth, or I don't really know how it works. Yeah.
Out of the abundance. The abundance.
Don't let the drops stay.
Yeah, you need to make sure you put some oil on your towel so that the dye won't stick. No, just saying. And it's like, yes, those things are nice. If you bring me fries, yes, that's bonus points. However, that's not what a relationship is based on. That's so selfish. So.
But why?
Yeah. Like, if you love me, you would bring me fries at work. Okay, that's just.
I had someone do that, and it's a really big bonus. Just like
it is a bonus, I will say. However, it's not the focus. It's not the intention of a relationship. You don't want to be self-seeking. Them fries, man. Potatoes. I don't know what it is, except for Chick-fil-A potato butts. I can't do it. Because I signed up. Like I was telling somebody, like I signed up for fries, not wedges. So when I get a wedge in my potato thing, this is off topic.
See, this is why we fit, because I love the wedges.
So you get the potato butts, I'll take the crisps.
Now I don't want them. I just like the softer fries.
Not me, I like it crispy. Mm-hmm. I want it about as bony as my leg. I want to crunch it. I think that's going to. That's not gonna be in the video. Obviously, that's kind of weird. Okay.
But it's okay. Yay!
I wish you would talk trash about yourself again. The word says this. Try it again. But 700 for no reason. Okay, I'm normal now.
Okay, I'm not. I'm such a googly person for no reason.
Alright. Come on, church.